Hi there, welcome to Hangout with DFCC Credit Cards. So with this series, we hope to speak to a few personalities that you might know who've excelled in their respective fields to give you some insight and to get into their heads about what they think about this particular time that we live in and how they see the future moving forward, and hopefully give you some insight into what you could possibly do with your respective field as well. Just give you a little bit of their perspective. So, to start things off with, my guest this week is someone who has made a name for herself in the fashion industry, not just here in Sri Lanka, but internationally as well. She is known for her love of experimenting with traditional and modern fashion. She made a mark in the fashion industry for herself by being the first Sri Lankan to take part at the London Fashion Week, and she's been recognized and awarded in Sri Lanka and globally as well. My guest this week is Charini Suriyage. Hi Charini.
Hi sir.
Did I get anything wrong?
All good.
All good. All right. So Charini, tell me, I did give a brief introduction as to who you are and what you are mostly known for, but I feel like we've gotten used to defining ourselves by our work, but we're so much more. So how would you define yourself? Who is Charini Suriyage at home, apart from work?
I think I'm actually one of those people who don't belong to a block standard cut. So I like to broaden my areas of expertise in different things other than fashion too. So
okay.
I think I'm a mixed bag of everything.
Right. So when you say apart from fashion, what sort of other interests do you have? What do you like to research? What do you like to do at home?
I love interiors. So I have a lot of interest in creating different interiors. So I like collecting art, and also I am a bit of an outdoor person. So I like a lot of adventurous things like, mountain climbing to a lot of exciting things like that, camping.
Right.
I like all those activities as well.
Yeah. You're a mom as well, right?
I am.
So are the kids volunteering to go with you, or you to drag them?
I have a 6-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. But they have started early, so they adapt very fast. And I want them to have that rounded experience so that they can pick and choose their options in the future on what they want to be and what they want to do.
Do you have an idea of what they're interested in right now, or do you feel like they're all over the place and
they're still too young? I think even at my age, I'm still trying to figure out a lot of things that I can improve on, things that I can venture into. So for me, life is a game of learning and it doesn't stop. So I don't think we should define anything for our kids. It has to be something that they actually start and they can change, they can continue to do something that they can find some passion in.
Yeah, that's a really lovely sentiment to hear from a parent. So when it comes to fashion, I'm curious to know, you started in the fashion industry a long time ago, didn't you?
Yes.
Was that always sort of your plan?
Well, I studied bioscience, but I still like science. I get inspired by a lot of science-related things, etc. even nowadays. But I always like that creative industry and that creativity that, an outlet where I can express my creativity. That was there from small days, I feel. So I think that's the reason why I picked this kind of line, though I had the other options also. Like, I got selected to pursue my studies in the science arena, but I just decided that I want to do this.
Yeah. So how do you go from being a fashion student to having your own brand, to becoming an entrepreneur and launching your own brands?
So I always had an end game in my mind, so that was having my own brand. But I believe that everybody has to have a strong academic background as well. I think that takes you that extra little bit, and also that exposure and experience. So because of that, I did my bachelor's degree here in Sri Lanka, and then I did my master's in London College of Fashion. So I had that, I wanted to get that local exposure and also that overseas exposure so that I can see what fashion is, the bigger picture of fashion, and get that exposure. And also working for Mars Holdings, I worked there for a long time, so that also gave me a great exposure towards how fashion worked in that spectrum. So it's because it's very different. Fashion, what I do now, is very different to the corporate way of doing fashion in the apparel industry. So I managed to get that exposure in different ways, I feel. So,
Yeah.
and I wanted to shift towards my end game, which is having my own brand and venturing out into doing my own business.
And I think you probably needed that knowledge and that experience to move on
Yes.
to the next step.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, different people have different sorts of beliefs, but I strongly believe that I want to have an academic background and then also get into doing my brand. Even my masters, it was not on fashion only, it was on managing fashion.
Right.
So I like a bit of that as well, and I do lecture as well with universities. So I like to, like I say,
Yeah,
I don't
different
want to only
things.
be a fashion designer. I like to venture into different things that interest me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it shows clearly, and it's been helpful to your business as well, I'm sure.
It has.
I'm curious to know now, this year has been very challenging, I'd like to say, and very different for every single person in their own way. I'm curious to know what the lockdown was like for you, what this quarantine period was like for you. How did you handle that?
Well, I can't say that it's not been a challenging period. To be very honest, it is a massive challenge,
Yeah.
especially when you are an entrepreneur in a developing country. I mean, it's a very different way that you do business in a setup like in Sri Lanka. So the lockdown, I think, did impact me and the brand. But I'm one of those people, I would honestly like get affected by things, but my thing is, what do I do next? How do I move on? Because you can't be a creative individual and also try and make money out of your passion if you don't think like that. So you can't look at it like a black hole from there. So I just need to, prep my mind, get out of that mentality where, I come out in a positive way. So I kept myself really busy. So what I did was I planned to do the things that I always wanted to do, but never had the time, because it's like go, go, go. Otherwise, you're just constantly on the run in this industry, because it's such a fast moving industry. I found that time to venture into things that I never found the time. So
It let you hit the pause button on certain things, right?
It did. But then you're actually worried also at the same time, because you know technically that it is every day counts and it hits your bottom line.
Yeah.
But you just have to see the best out and get the best out of the situation, I feel, because there's no other way to get out of that in my eyes.
Yeah. I'm curious to know what you think about the fashion industry moving forward, but I'll get to that. But right now we're going to take a quick break, and after the break we'll talk to Charini about the future of fashion post-COVID.
Every time you swipe your DFCC credit card, get 1% cash back into your account. Experience double the happiness with DFCC credit cards. DFCC Bank. Keep growing.
We're back with Hangout with DFCC credit cards. My guest today is Charini Suriyage. So this lockdown period, what was it like for you? What was it like for your work? How did it affect your work?
So what happened is, what we decided is, as a team, we decided that we are going to do work, even if it's remote work, that we are going to continue working. And my staff has been very supportive, I must say. And they understood that it's a period that we have to all stick together and try and get through. So what we did was, there are people who do patterns, there are people who do sewing, and from my end I have to do the design, and I have a design team as well. So what we did was, we were on conference calls every single day, and there were lots of projects that we wanted to do, but we never had the time to do because we've been very busy. So this was a very good time to venture into those areas and try and get those projects sorted. For instance, I've always wanted to have a proper e-commerce site, and this was a perfect time to do so. So like that, we have lots of projects that we wanted to do, but we never had the time. So what we did was, with the team, we would discuss, we would do the design, and it's nowadays it's very easy to do these things without having to meet. So we, I think, mastered that art of being in different locations, but communicating. So we did our sketches, we did on things on WhatsApp, on Zoom. So a lot of discussions, and even with the clients, right? Because our clients, well, we have a lot of fashionable clients. So even they are just, they are bored at home, and they just don't want to think that it's the end of the world. So everybody's talking about how we can do something creative. So it's nice that everybody was trying to get out from that negativity and try to focus on something positive. So we did designing for the clients, setting up our website, and also, like, there are things that, like, inventories, a lot of things that we had to sort out. We took that time to sort out a lot of back-end stuff that we would have not been able to sort out to this detail.
So Charini, how did you handle your work in the middle of the lockdown? How did it affect your company?
So I have to say that it affected us like any other company. So we had to come up with creative ways of handling work, because we decided as a company that we are going to keep on going and do our best. So we had to understand and come up with innovative ways of handling the work without physically not being in the location. So then we were discussing with the team how we can do WhatsApp calls, Zoom calls, all those, trying to get familiar with those methods and still continue what we are doing as a team. So every day we would have a call with the team, discuss the list of things that we have to do. And when it's designing, you can actually do your sketches, share the pictures, discuss about patterns, and create those blocks that we need, or the patterns that we need. And other than the stitching part, we managed to do everything else and have it all ready, so that by the time everything starts, we are ready to go. So we had to, and also the fact that, because we always wanted to launch our e-commerce platform, so that was a perfect time to get ready for that, because otherwise we would have not had the time to go into so much of detail and do our designing part. So I think we managed it well with the staff, because they were also very supportive. That's also a very important thing, I feel, that the support that you get from your staff also in a time like this. So we handle it in a way where we spoke to our clients, we took orders so that we can do the moment the lockdown is over what they wanted to do. There were orders that were given but not really executed because we didn't have the time to do it in a rush. So all those creative things that we needed time, we managed to do during that time.
Yeah. So with this whole lockdown situation, with COVID-19, with the world completely changing and being turned on its head, I'm curious to know, how do you see the fashion industry globally at the moment? How has that changed?
It's definitely going to change, and certain changes are going to be permanent changes. Certain things are just because it has to go with the whole setup at the moment. But I think there are things that are going to be permanent changes, like the fact that you have to wear masks, or, those are there to stay for a while. And the type of gatherings and the types of crowd that goes into a place, the way that they dress up basically has changed. We are already seeing the differences in the buying patterns.
Okay.
And also the way that people purchase things have changed, because people want a bit more value for money, and things have to be a bit more diverse, versatile. So if somebody used to, if a person used to buy a very nice evening wear just for one occasion, now it might not be the kind of product that they would want to buy, because the gatherings are smaller. So you still want to look nice.
Yeah.
Because whatever happens, people still want to feel special, they want to feel good, so they'll still buy things, but people will always look at smart choices. So we see that the consumer behavior and the buying patterns have changed, so that they purchase something that is a bit more value for money, versatile, where it's a bit more timeless, rather than it being something that is, they don't want to get caught in just fast fashion anymore.
Right. Do you feel like people will prefer buying online now as opposed to going into a physical shop and buying it, or is that still something people enjoy doing?
I strongly believe that people still enjoy going to a shop and buying something as well. But there are different generations who respond to this situation in different ways. So the younger generation, if they are more used to buying things online. But the slightly mature clientele still like to go to a place, touch and feel things, wear something and get something that is customized, or enjoy that process as well without just buying something. I mean, it's not ticking in the box for them, it's actually an experience as well. Yes, it can be a virtual experience or a physical experience, but it's very different how different generations react to it. So I think still you get both. Everything is not going to be online all of a sudden. It's not going to happen in my view.
Right. So I think we touched on some very important things there as well. I want to know what you think about the future, maybe 2 years from now, 5 years from now, but we'll get to that after this break. We'll be back with Charini.
A bank should be for everyone. Children, elders, youngsters, those looking for jobs, those with jobs, those in business, for you, for me, for all of us. From savings to current accounts, fixed deposits, credit cards, leasing, housing loans, DFCC Bank offers you a range of banking products. DFCC Bank, for everyone.
This is Hangout with DFCC Credit Cards. Today we are hanging out with Charini Suriyage, talking about the fashion industry and the future of fashion. I'm curious to know how you see the fashion industry coping in the future. The new normal, we've now made this term. Do you feel like fashion will change? Do you feel like things that people will focus on will change? Buying patterns will change? How do you see the future?
I think this has affected the fashion industry like it has affected all these other industries in a long-term manner. And I feel, fashion end of the day is here to stay.
Yeah.
So, all these pandemics or whatever, it has happened in the past, but fashion has always continued, right? Because it's something that people always yearn for. They like something that makes them feel good. But the use of things, the way that they use things will be different probably. But I feel that fashion is here to stay. So, and also it's very important to see how a lot of people are looking at things in a very sustainable manner. People have understood the importance of things being sustainable. So fashion is also looking at things in the same perspective. If you look at the major international fashion brands or fashion weeks, like even Colombo Fashion Week, they are going to have the show very soon. So everybody is taking a turn towards sustainability so that people actually have more use out of things and eliminate waste and stick to things that are a bit more timeless. And I think that is that view that all the brands are taking at the moment in moving forward with fashion.
Yeah, and I think even for you, sustainable fashion and ethical fashion is important, right?
It has always been a very important thing, and it's very close to the heart of the brand. So I think it's very easy for us to adapt faster because I think we are already having those views as important things to our brand.
So as a final note, what advice would you give to people who are watching about what smart purchases or choices to make when it comes to fashion moving forward?
I would say buy something that you see yourself wearing in another few months to come and even an year or two to come. Buy timeless fashion because it's something that you can, it's a smart investment, and buy pieces that you can wear in the morning and evening, and you can something that you can go to office in and also go for a party just after that for to meet your friends. So make purchases in a way where you can actually maximize the wear out of it. So I think that's advice I give all the clients who come to me as well, who shop with us. Because I always say, just don't buy something just because it looks nice at this moment. Think whether you are going to wear it. Are you going to wear it again and again? If not, just don't buy it. So everybody who knows me knows that I give that piece of advice to all my clients, because then you don't buy something as a hasty decision. You actually then value what you buy, because you have put that thought process into place, and you can see yourself actually using that product.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be a waste.
I think I have to restart how I think about fashion as well, sort of change that up a bit, taking your advice. I think that's what your brand Charini focuses on as well, right?
Definitely. Charini is all about timeless fashion, and you know, my clients who have bought things from me, they always say, "Oh Charini, I'm still wearing that piece that I bought from you 5 years ago." Wow. So that makes me happy. Yeah. This sustainability is not something that we just have to talk about, but we have to actually practice it. So it's a good feeling.
Absolutely. And I mean, thank you so much for talking to us today. It's been a pleasure talking to you and sort of getting your insight on the fashion industry moving forward as well. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, Charini.
Thank you.
And with that being said, we actually have an opportunity for all of you who are watching to win some cash prizes. I will ask you a question, and if you get the answer right, you'll be able to win 10,000 rupees cash. We'll be giving away this cash prize to 3 lucky winners. So here's the question. Listen well. The question is, what is the unique feature of DFCC credit cards that is not offered by any other credit card in the market? That's your question. What is the unique feature of DFCC credit cards that is not offered by any other credit card in the market? If you know the answer, send a message to the DFCC Facebook page together with your name, your NIC and your contact number. Send us the right answer and we'll be picking 3 lucky winners to win 10,000 rupees cash courtesy of DFCC. So that's your opportunity. Grab it while you can. And so with that, it brings our show to a close. My name is Sasha Karnaratna. This has been Hangout with DFCC Credit Cards.